How are we, everyone? Hello, and welcome back to another deadline stream. It is game week 2. I hope you are all doing well. I think there's going to be a lot of chat about rolling transfers in this stream for game week 2, but we've got a lot of other stuff to discuss. We'll do benching rankings. We'll be talking about my team. What's going on? There we go. We've got lots of things to discuss. Benching rankings, general trends, lots of stuff to talk about still, despite the fact that lots of us are still looking to roll our transfer in game week 2. It is nice to see so many of you in. I hope you're all doing well. We've got a few things to talk about at the beginning of this stream. But before we do any of that, let's do our usual round of hellos. If you are in and watching, please say hello in the chat. Let me know how your week's been, and we will get through all of that before we dive in and talk about the stream. Hello to Ahmed. Hello to Trond. Hello to Ian. Hello to Immortal, George, Anthony, Fiona. Who else have we got? Hello to Adrian. Hello to all the members and moderators in the chat, especially early. Thank you all very much for your support. And thank you to everyone who has signed up to the lowest tier possible, because we've got the new members only game week review every single Monday during the season now, where I go through all of the games and just chat about anything that I found interesting. Thank you very much, those of you who've joined literally at the base tier, in order to get access to that, and to everyone else in the chat. We've got Elk, Sulav, we've got Ruddy, Jamie, Zach, Ben, Jimbo, Ned, Christoph, Mr. PBK, Hisham, Yanir, Shaz, The Space, Finch, Yo Lion, Ollie, GRPT, Delboy, Yogi, Ian, Peter, Yannick, Joseph, Mark, Tamir, Hedgehog, Crazy Wicked. Who else have we got in here? FPL Joe, hello. Benjamin, Andy, Radon, Nigel, Football Shirts Pro, William, Welsh, Ben, Omar, XP, India. Who else have we got? It feels really small today. I'm struggling with all the names. They're very far away from me. Felix, Grandpa, Oscar, and let's do one more. Tom and Neil. Hello to you all. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are watching. Friday night deadline once again. Zach, hello to you as well. I won't forget. Nice to see so many of you in. And I do want to start this stream off with, first of all, a little bit of a thank you. We're going to drop. I'm feeling in a very grateful mood, and we'll talk about why in just a moment. I'm going to give away 10 base tier memberships. Now, actually, what you get in that now is much more. You get the stream perks, but you also get Monday's game week review. I'm going to send 5 now, and then I'll send 5 again in a moment. So just write literally anything in the chat to be in with a chance of winning, and I will send those out. Now it'll get you 1 month's access, and again, because we've got the new members review, game week review on that base tier, feels a little bit more like you've got something benefit of winning those. There we go. 5 are heading out to you right now. They have gone to Mohammed, Jacko, Ballux, and Eddie. Eddie Casey, congratulations. You are in all my videos. So massive congratulations to you. And Fraser, congratulations to you 5. And then we've got 5 more to all of you who are in early. So keep doing the same thing. How do I do it? Here we go. 5 more to give out this month. 3, 2, 1. And sending. And then congratulations to 5 more of you as well. To Steve, maybe Steve, Tamarul, Gaz, Hermione, and Chicken Keeper. Congratulations to all of you as well. Those of you who didn't get it, apologies, but it is a random draw. But I wanted to say, start off this stream by saying a big thank you to you all for the support on me and on my channel. This morning, I was lucky enough to be back on the FPL show for another time. Every time I go in there and get invited in to sit in the studio and record talking about FPL is still just still absolutely mind-blowing to me. So I want to offer a huge thank you that it doesn't go unnoticed, that all of the support that you show allows me to do these things. But then it really came to fruition this afternoon as well. If you haven't seen, if you go onto my Twitter, there is a Champions League fantasy advert that has just gone out, and I've been doing my best to keep this a secret from when we recorded it last week, and it has me in it. You'll be seeing my face there in just a moment. There I am. And the fact, again, that I have an opportunity to do something like this, if you want to see the full thing, go and check it out. I've posted it on both Instagram and on Twitter as well. So I just wanted to start this stream off, particularly those of you who are in this early. The deadline is still 2 hours away. And the fact that there are some of you who come and listen to me, watch all my videos, and are just so supportive, it really doesn't go unnoticed. We every single game week, producing videos, making, doing streams and everything, it gets, carried away. You just go every game week by game week. And sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of a refresh and a reminder of how lucky I am. And yeah, I wanted to say a big thank you to all of that. That was not my setup, no. So in the build up to the deadline, where I was basically working from 9 a.m. until midnight every single day, I also had to give up one of those days to go and film all this content, which I absolutely would give up 100 times over. But it meant that 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. basically became an all-nighter when I finally got home from it. But yes, thank you all so much. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Massive thanks to all of you. And I'm very aware that all of you in the chat, I would not be doing all of this without you. There will be stuff, so keep your eyes peeled around Champions League Fantasy, around my team and stuff like that. There's still plenty more to come as well. So yeah, we'll leave it there. But I did want to start this, and it probably won't be the last time I say it during this stream. Yeah, a massive, massive thank you. So, should we talk about some FPL then? Oh, I guess 12 a.m., midnight, right? Until midnight. There are lots of you who are going to be in asking benching decisions. So other things to talk about that I wanted to. I know I got given the opportunity to record it the 1 year that Chelsea are not in the Champions League. Absolute nightmare for me. But you will notice a couple of new things in the bottom right-hand corner. We've got our usual start bench rankings. We have a few other useful bits of information. So we've got next 5 fixtures. I fixed it. We had to turn it off right at the beginning of the stream last week because it wasn't showing the right fixtures for each team. We fixed it. You've got next 5 fixtures for all of the teams in the league. And you've also then got the most transferred in and most transferred out players to have a look at as well. Decupia is 384,000 transfers in. Sangare is 329,000. João Pedro is also massively up there. So new stuff to talk through, lots of stuff to look at while the stream is going on. But it is nice to have so many of you in here. Let's do a few questions. Yeah, you can't really bench Vardio. Like, there are some of them that are just not on that benching ranking, because I just wouldn't be benching a City defender, for example. I don't think Brian Mbeumo is is high enough. I think he's too high, for example. He's not in there. So, Shaw, Tarkowski, Dango, or Sangare, who would I bench if I had to bench one? I probably would bench... To be honest, I'd probably bench Tarkowski because I expect Bournemouth to score. Start Maguire over triple Arsenal defence. No, triple Arsenal defence I'd play against Villa, who are planning to use... When am I planning to use my triple captain? So, at the moment, I don't know. I'm not locking anything in. There are a few options. If Haaland looks great against Palace, I will consider game week 3. I will also consider game week 7 when he's got Ipswich at home, and I will consider saving it to game week 16 when he's got Hull at home. If not, I don't really plan on using it on Bruno right now, so I'm more looking at Chelsea. Game week 4, if Palmer or João Pedro could definitely be a consideration. Outside of that, this first half of the season, it would be waiting until the Christmas fixtures, which feels like a bit of a risk. But if we knew that Palmer or João Pedro was starting in one of these, but they're away games. So I'm definitely not locking in my triple captaincy. I look at game week 3 and game week 4 for City and Chelsea and have it in the back of my mind that I might want to. But yeah, I'm not locking in any chip really now. I have a plan to wildcard still over that long international break between game week 5 and game week 6, but I'm still not certain of it. Hinshelwood to Sangare. If you are a Hinshelwood owner, you've been very unlucky. Looks like he's out for 5 to 6 weeks. So yeah, if you need to sell him, sell to Sangare. But he falls into the same sort of category as if you own someone like an Iliman and Jai. Is that transfer essential this week? If you can just bench him, and you were planning on benching him away at Chelsea, then I would just bench someone like Hinshelwood. Because next week, when you've got 2 transfers, you might do something like Bruno to Semenyo, which gives you money for Hinshelwood to like Rodgers or Palmer, and suddenly your transfer looks really different. So if you don't have to make a transfer this week, even if you own someone like Hinshelwood and Iliman and Dye, or someone you don't think is going to start, if you're not bench boosting, can you get away with it? That would be my recommendation. Thoughts on selling Dominic Calvert-Lewin? So the plan for me was always to own him for the first 5. If he blanks in all of the first 3, then maybe I'll consider going away from him. But I still think the first 5 fixtures for Leeds are good enough. They've looked great. Like game week 1, they looked strong. Game week 2, midweek in the cup, they look strong. And I expect them to play well again. So as much as Calvert-Lewin's returns haven't been there, I still think he's a good pick. Yeah, so the interesting thing about the benching ranking is because there's so many good picks that people are considering benching, I basically had to just choose the top ones. Normally, I wouldn't have any of those Arsenal in a benching ranking. So someone like Ajer, who is technically bottom of my benching ranking, he's not though, is he? Because he's above loads of players who don't even get into the list because you would just bench them. So there's no Ipswich defender really in that list. There's no Hull defender in that list, despite them doing well last week. Just because I can't include all of those names in that list. Start 1, Calvert-Lewin or Sangare of Brentford, please. Calvert-Lewin over Sangare. As much as last week's points would say to do the opposite, yeah, I'd be playing Calvert-Lewin over Sangare. Hume or Ayer. Right, can someone in the chat tell me how to pronounce his name? Is it Ajer or Ayer? Because I feel like if you watch my videos back, every time I say his name, I say it differently. And I don't know if any of them are right. Ayer. It's with a... Well, Ayer. Okay, it's not a J. Got it. Ayer. We got it. Got it. It's not a J. Got it. Right. Yeah. So I'm pretty comfortable benching him this week. to be honest. I think Leeds have looked great, and I think they'll probably score. So I'm not that worried about. I mean, he's been good in the air. He's a threat from set pieces. So actually, yeah, I'm not loving a benching him, but I do think benching Rodon would be a worse feeling, particularly because I've got Calvert-Lewin now. If Leeds don't score, then I'm effectively punished twice, right? Because I'll get a Calvert-Lewin blank and an Ayer clean sheet potentially with DEFCON. So it has the potential to really hurt, but I think it's going to be Rodon over Ayer. I'm just playing them both the Leeds players. They're both at home. I know Brentford have been great, but I think this is the way round I'm going to get it. I think this is I don't plan on changing it, to be honest. Van Uwijk, Thomas, Tavernier, Petrovic, still a bench boost, 100%. 4 players all at home against Everton and Hull, absolutely, yeah. Bench boost 2, have and die. Is he a sell for who you have Sangare? That's really tough because, yes, I don't think you can bench boost. Well, the quotes from David Moyes were still quite up in the air about whether he's going to play or not. But bench boosting with and die. To be honest, what I would consider is is the rest of your bench really strong? Because if the rest of your bench looks great and really, really good, then maybe you just take the risk and don't rush the transfer and hope that he plays. So that's probably what I'd try and do if the rest of your bench is really strong and you think the rest of your bench could get 10 points without him, is probably what I'd do. If you've already got Sangare, I wouldn't be selling and die. I'd either not be bench boosting or I'd just be bench boosting with and die. Because Sangare is the only option that makes any sort of sense, I think. Vuskovic or Gross, I'd play Gross. With Hinshelwood out injured, I wonder who's going to play in that role. Because we've often seen it be Pascal Gross who plays in the 10. But will it be O'Reilly? Maybe they'll play Rutter in that position as well, and then they play another striker. It probably won't be Gross, to be fair. They don't really have a replacement for him. It will be either Rutter or O'Reilly in that position. But I play Gross over Vuskovic. Is it worth playing Marmouche? That is a good question. I'd be surprised if Marmouche starts. If you've got Marmouche, I'd probably still bench him this week unless you don't have any cover and then just start him. But I don't expect Marmouche to start this week. Someone asked me if I'm playing last fan standing. I'm fuming is what I am. Guess who I picked for last fan standing? Yeah, you're right. I picked Man United. Out. Week 1. Disgraceful. Yeah. I'm out. First week of last fan standing. I was in there to the end last year. Didn't United lose it for me last time? I feel like I've been knocked out both times with United. Absolutely fuming. I don't care about the 3 Man United players I've got in my FPL team. I care that I've been knocked out of last fan standing because I picked Man United. Fuming. I was not happy. You've got Arsenal. Arsenal was the obvious one. Should have just picked Arsenal at home, but I thought, let's be clever and save Arsenal. Great job, Harry. Great. How to handle Gross, Gomez versus Ayer. I'd probably play Gross over Ayer, but not... would I? Yeah, I probably would. I probably would play Gross because I do think Chelsea will concede goals. I wouldn't be surprised if that game ends something like 3-2. I just think Leeds score. As good as Brentford have been, I think Leeds score at home. Any news on Petrovic to start for the new Bournemouth keeper? No, but until we see something, they've got no reason to drop Petrovic. So until I see that in the flesh, I would be surprised if he gets benched. So if you're on bench boost and you've got Petrovic, then I think it's fine. Am I crazy to captain Haaland despite you have Bruno? Actually going to Old Trafford for the game? No. I think Haaland is a very decent captain. His record against Crystal Palace is very good, and Palace do feel like they're a little bit all over the place. If you're a Man United fan going to Old Trafford, does that impact your decision making? Are you playing FPL purely for FPL? Then that's up to you. But yeah, I still think Bruno's just about top, but I don't think there's much in it. One thing we were talking about on the fantasy show today is that Bruno's goal threat is really low. So Holly Shan, who I was on with, said that he's never blanked at home. 9 appearances, 2 goals, 11 assists. And that was like interesting to me because he never blanks at home, but he's only scored twice. And I think at least I think both of them might have been pens. And so far in game week 1, he had 0 shots, 3 chances created. So he does feel very weighted to assist threat. Now, that does concern me a little bit in terms of captaincy. Haaland, I'm not going to captain João Pedro just because of how good Brighton have been. It will be Haaland if I was to move it off Bruno. But João Pedro is probably the other one that I consider. But it is on Bruno, and I don't plan on moving it. Listen, people saying Haaland versus Palace is a guaranteed hat-trick. Even if I don't captain Haaland, I will want Haaland to go crazy with goals because at the end of the day, not many people there's a lot of no Haaland drafts out there. So I would rather Haaland does well to outscore a no Haaland draft that I'm competing with rather than him blank because there are some people that captained him. I think there is a bigger pool of players that I think I'll be competing with at the end of the season on no Haaland compared to actually Haaland captainers this week, if that makes sense. Gabriel captain, listen, it's not for me away at Aston Villa. I think there's some great attacking options this week, but again, with the way that Villa are playing, yeah, you'd probably expect a clean sheet at a minimum for Gabriel. But yeah, it's a no for me. Caicedo on a bench boost. Yeah, it says that he should be fine. So yeah, if you've got Caicedo, I would bench boost. Thoughts on Savio? Right. Also, can someone explain to me, have I just missed that he changed his name? Or did he change it when he moved? Like the name on the back of his shirt changed? Because I just seen all this stuff that he's like Savio, formerly known as Savinio. And I just missed it, obviously. Bench Biol or Brobby. I would not be benching Enzo Lafille or Brobby with the way that Fulham defended. He's still Savinio. Oh, so he was only Savinio at City. He changed it when he moved to City and then went back to Savio. Right, okay. I don't feel so bad about not having a clue about what was going on because it does sound a little bit confusing. Yeah. There are a lot of you with benching decisions. There is a benching ranking in the bottom right-hand corner, which will go round. It's got the top 28, I think, most popular players to be included in the benching decision. So check out your players. If you think your player is likely to be above the list or even worse than the list, then that's where they'll probably be. Got it. Thanks for the help. Enzo Lafille DCL. I probably would play Enzo Lafille over DCL. I just think Fulham looked so bad defensively that I don't expect that to change. Steve, Thomas over Van Heck. Yeah, I'd play Thomas over Van Heck. And Mbeumo captain, probably not. Probably not. I still think... I don't mind Mbeumo captain, but he's not going to be playing up front. So as much as his goal threat is probably better than Bruno, it's not that much higher. Play one, Brobby. Yeah, Brobby. Don't bench for Sunderland players against Fulham this weekend, would be my advice. I get over Sangare and DCL. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be playing Brobby out of those. Sharda or DCL, I'd be playing DCL over Sharda. Yep. Hinshelwood over Gross. Hinshelwood is out for 5 to 6 weeks, so Pascal Gross it is. Are you going any transfers? No. So, I mean, I've looked at my team and I've tried to think if there's anything even remotely close to a transfer I'd be considering this week, and I can't even think of one. Yeah. I have no idea if I was to make... If you told me I had to make a transfer this week, I don't even know where I'd begin in making it. So no. No, you don't have Haaland or Bruno, but I will be rolling... You're only one free transfer. Yeah, this is just the best week to roll your transfer if you can. One transfer is so inflexible. You basically have to do a downgrade because no one's got any money in the bank. Normally, when you go to do a transfer, you might have a bit of money in the bank that you can at least upgrade someone. But unless you've left money in the bank at the start of the season, you're basically either doing a like-for-like swap or a downgrade in terms of value. And that's never a good place to be. Plus, there are much more important things in Game Week 3. Manchester City at home to Coventry, Chelsea at home to Hull in Game Week 4 that you will want to use your transfers on that is more important than me doing a sideways swap of, I don't even know, like Calvert-Lewin to Rissa or Harry Maguire to, again, I even know who I'd buy if I had to buy a defender this week. So yeah, there are much more important transfers to make in Game Week 3 and 4 than this week. That is, of course, not the case if you've got someone who's injured and you're having to start them. But even in that situation, if you've got Hinshelwood or you've got Illiman and Dye and you have anyone first sub who you think is okay, whether that is Pascal Gross, Gomez, Rodon, Ayer, Ballard, or someone else that you think is half decent a pick, I would rather you bench them or start Illiman and Dye, for example, and get the auto sub than make a transfer this week. That is how big I think the upside of having 2 transfers in Game Week 3 and Game Week 4 is. I just don't see any scenario, really, where I think you should be making a transfer this week. If you are in a position where you plan on making a transfer, let me know in the chat because I would be really interested to know. Again, if you're playing a bench boost, it's different, right? If you're playing bench boost and you've got Hinshelwood, for example, or you've got Palestra, fine, you probably got to sell them, okay? But if you're not bench boosting, I don't see really a world where you want to be making a transfer. Start Brobby or Szoboszlai or Semenyo. Like, what is going on here? Some of the benching decisions that these no Haaland and no Bruno teams, the reason they both blanked in Game Week 1, but the reason I am happy that I have Haaland and Bruno is the fact that I'm not presented with a benching dilemma that includes Brobby, Szoboszlai and Semenyo, all 3 of which you 100% should be starting. If I had to bench, I'd bench Szoboszlai because I really don't think he added anything. I mean, where do we even begin with Szoboszlai, Brobby, Semenyo? I think I'd bench Szoboszlai. I think you have to play Semenyo. Oh, but then I said don't never bench Brobby against that Fulham defence. I think I'd have to play Semenyo out of those. But then, like, this is it. This is why it's painful. Free transfer Ballard out for Gvardiol this game week. Like, absolutely not. Categorically, this is an example of why I think no one should be making a transfer. Ballard to Gvardiol, absolutely not. 100% you're better off rolling. Am I making a transfer for Game Week 2? Definitely not. again, I have been looking in the chat, people looking to make transfers. Well, I mean, to be honest, no one really is. But if you are looking to make a transfer this week, I really would be interested to know about what that transfer is. Should I start DCL or Sangare? I'd play DCL. Forgot to play the bench boost. Do I play bench boost to Brobby, Davis, DCL? Like what? No. Owen, there's no way that your 3 weakest players include Brobby and DCL. If that is your actual bench boost, 100%. 100%. That's probably better than your Game Week 1 bench boost. Palmer in, Bruno out. Again, I just don't think you need to make that transfer this week. Chelsea play Brighton at home, Arsenal away in the next 2. That is so much harder than what we saw from Fulham. He did Porro out to Calafiori. Fair enough. Arsenal defender in, but I probably wouldn't have bothered. It does sound like Porro is probably going to play. I know Calafiori is probably a better pick, but Dewsbury Hall to Sangare. Again, I just wouldn't be doing that, especially now that you've missed the Sangare price rise. Would I start Konza if I had him? Probably not, to be honest. To be honest, he probably, if you've got a decent defender who's definitely going to start, then no. If you're not happy with your defense, then fine, but I still don't think he'll start, and then you risk a cameo. Hot take, but Villa are going to win. I mean, I'd be shocked. I'd be more surprised if Villa score, let alone win. 2-0 Arsenal, easy win for them. Arsenal's first test comes next week. Chelsea. Hume or Rodon? Hume. To Kuipia or DCL? DCL. Right. This whole JP Morgan, is the P in JP Morgan meant to be Palmer? Because to me, JP Morgan, this catchphrase for Chelsea's front line, doesn't include Palmer because it's João Pedro, Morgan. Like, to me, it doesn't include Palmer, so it can't be JP Morgan. When I read it, I read João Pedro Morgan. Yeah, João Palmer Morgan. But yeah, but it does, like, that's not what it reads to me. Because you've got first name, second name, first name. It doesn't make any sense. Because it reads as João Pedro Morgan. That's like JP is João Pedro to me in my brain. So my brain is not reading Palmer at all in this saying. So I don't like it, basically. Gross or Ndai? I'd play Ndai and just have Gross first sub in case he doesn't play. And again, yeah, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So you don't think Haaland will get us negative? He probably will. Like, Haaland's ownership will be probably 110%. It won't be massively above it to the point where even if it's damaging my rank, I'll still be happy the more goals he scores. So yeah, it will damage your rank slightly if Haaland does well, but not massively. Congrats on your ad for the Champions League. Thank you so much. Honestly, absolutely crazy. Yeah, we'll be talking UCL fantasy more and more over the course of the season. But yeah, just a huge thank you to everyone. As I said at the beginning, I'm just amazingly grateful. Just so grateful to all the support that allows me to do things like that. I mean, I sit in my bedroom and I talk about FPL, and that's all I've done for the last 5 years of my life. So I'm so grateful. Thank you very much. I haven't, on that note, been grateful. I really hope you can't hear that. If you haven't already, drop a like on the stream and, well, I shouldn't press those buttons. I really hope that you can't hear that. I bet you can. Oh dear. Right. Well, if you could like the stream, there's 4,000 of you in who haven't liked the stream already. And someone in one of the flats around me or outside has just started drilling. Hopefully it doesn't last very long, because we can't have this for the next hour and a half. Yeah. It's 5 o'clock on a Friday. They stopped. I've no idea. This is the issue with living in London. There's just constantly something going on around you. It stopped. It stopped. It stopped. That's why it's not loud anymore. It's because it stopped. Anyway, if I don't draw attention to it, then it'll be fine. Oh no. Am I rolling? Yes, I plan on rolling my transfer this week. What I'm going to do is I don't even know how I can get around this. If I turn my mic down and then I speak right into it, that doesn't seem to have done anything. Anyway, let's just crack on and hope that they're not doing this for the next hour and a half, because I can't even concentrate. Bench Maguire or White. Don't bench Arsenal. If you've got any Arsenal, don't bench them. No, I don't. This is the thing. We're getting sidetracked here and people want to talk about FPL, but I like the audio. If there's anyone out there that knows, is a expert around like audio, I currently just, my mic goes from my mic USB into my computer, and I'm sure there is a way that I could simply make the audio quality better. But if anyone knows it, please Instagram or Twitter, drop me a DM if you want to offer out any advice. Will Foden start? Probably, yeah. I think it will be Cherky in the 10, Foden and Semenyo, probably. Need a pro studio. Don't worry, I'm trying. The clues not in there. Anyway, who'll be my captain? Yeah, Bruno captain is the plan. Bruno captain. I like Haaland, but Bruno at home is just always consistent. I've got no issue if you're going Chelsea or Haaland, though. All are good options. If you play free hit, can you deselect and swap to wildcard? No. So, if you're playing a chip in Game Week 3, but you're not sure which it is, you should make lots of transfers to catch price changes, and then later down the week, you can just activate whichever one you're wanting to play when you decide. Is anyone looking to play a chip in Game Week 3? Sorry, it's not a DCL advert. It's a UCL Champions League fantasy advert. If you go and check out my Twitter or my Instagram, it's like my last post on both of them, basically. I'll get it up. I've got it here. I'm in the... My acting could do a bit of work, but yeah, crazy to be involved. So again, thank you. Bench, Reece James or Sangare. I'd probably bench James and play Sangare. Haaland will get a hat-trick. I'd be all up for that. Possibly we'll play wildcard next week. Yeah, should bench boost. If you've got 4 players who you think will start and some of them have got good fixtures, yes. I think Game Week 2 is quite a good week to play your bench boost. do I start Ilman Ndiaye or Calvert-Lewin? I'd probably just play Calvert-Lewin regardless, especially with the slight risk of Ilman Ndiaye's minutes. Yeah, I would definitely be playing Calvert-Lewin. Play Foden or Sangare. I'd take the chance on Foden, I think. Of course, once we get closer to the deadline, we might get some sort of news on City because they are the early kickoff. And if you've got someone like Phil Foden, I would be keeping an eye on that because he's the type of player who's not 100% nailed. If Turkey comes in, I expect it to be both of them, but it's not impossible that Turkey just starts over Foden. I think they need more attacking players, and I think they will go with all three of them, personally, so I think you'll be fine on Foden. Start which one? Shaw, Ballard, or Thomas? You already have Lamans. I definitely wouldn't start Shaw. Or bench boost. Two of those and one of Schade. Oh yeah, like if you've got Verbruggen, Shaw, Ballard, and Schade, I'd bench boost that. Yeah. Play Szoboszlai or Ndiaye. Probably Szoboszlai. Bruno, Bumo, Palmer, captain. Bruno for me. Ayer, Kinski, Garcia, Van Uyck, bench boost. Probably, yeah. Kinski at home, Van Uyck, yes. Garcia, Fulham, I presume that is, against Sunderland. And Ayer. Yeah, fine. Yeah, Villa signing that PSG guy. Big signing for them. Villa have made some good signings. They'll be better, but I don't expect it by Monday night. I think game week 2 onwards, we might start to see a little bit of a stronger, better Aston Villa team, but like game week 3 when they've got Hull, I mean, they've got Hull away, so you're probably not buying Hull anyway. Game week 4 when they've got Forest, like I think by this point we'll be seeing a stronger Aston Villa, but then that's around Champions League. Game week 5, they've got Spurs. I think we'll start to see improvements from them, and I don't think they're done in the transfer window either. I think there's more to be done for them. Ballard or Rodon? Ballard. Would I play Gross or James? Probably Gross, because I do expect Brighton to score. Need to turn your noise gate up. Yeah, I have my noise gate on, but if I turn it up too much, it makes my yeah, it goes weird because then when I don't talk so loudly, it starts cutting it out. So thoughts on Saka? I think if you've got him, I think he's fine. I just think there's so many good cheap Arsenal players that you don't need to be spending that money. Match insight. Haaland scored in all 5 Premier League meetings with Palace, 8 goals. A competition record. Is it? Interesting. Well, I'm happy I've got him. Hopefully he scores. I'm all for Haaland scoring. I do plan on captaining Bruno, though. So all I've done is swapped Ayer and Gomez in terms of benching order. Basically, yeah. Have I talked to... Yeah, I know Ross is favouring Ayer. I have actually spoken to him. And I know he favours Ayer between the two. I just think I'm playing DCL. Rodon's DEFCONs are not quite as good, but I think there's a higher chance for Leeds clean sheet than a Brentford one. Maybe I should just go Ayer because I think they're both going to concede. But, yeah. Brentford look unstoppable. I know, but Leeds are good defensively. Like, Leeds are no pushover. I wouldn't be surprised if this game is suddenly really low scoring for everyone thinking that Brentford are going to score loads of goals. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 1-0, 2-1 either way type of game. I don't see loads of goals in it. So I'm quite happy to play Rodon. I understand that if I didn't have Calvert-Lewin, maybe it would be a closer debate. DCL or Lafi bench 1. I'd actually bench DCL. I'd play Enzo Lafi. No, I'd play Brobby over DCL. I'd just play all your Sunderland players, to be honest. If I had Lafi in for Gomez, who would I bench? Probably Calvert-Lewin. Should I get Ndiaye out for Sangare or just bench? I just bench Or I would just start Sangare, start and die, and have the player that you want first sub. Ballard or Muhemovic. Ballard, I think. Home to Fulham. Ballard or DCL. DCL over Ballard. Shaw or White. If you've got any Arsenal players that are expected to start, I would just play them. Your thoughts about free hit in game week 3? Yeah, so if you don't have Haaland, in game week 3, you've got one of 3 choices. You've got free hit to buy Triple City. You've got wildcard to buy Erling Haaland. Or you've got a couple of transfers to do Bruno to someone cheap like a Slater and another forward. If you've got Isak up to Haaland. You've got Thiago, do Thiago up to Haaland. So if you don't have Haaland, you have a couple of options. Now, because I do have Haaland, who's drilling? The neighbours. The neighbours are. And there's not much I can do about it right now. This is not a drill, I know. In Die, we don't have any news on Ilman and Jai. If you've got him, just start him and have a good first sub is basically my recommendation. Unless you're happy to bench him because you've got enough good attackers. Sharda, yeah, a fine play. Again, Leeds are good defensively, but I think he's a fine pick. Bench boost with Rushworth, Ayer, Thomas, and Slater. Yeah, I probably would. Yeah. Clank. Did you? It's not. I don't see one. Oh, yeah. Thoughts on Liverpool game week 3 fixtures and on. Yeah. So this is part of the reason that I went with Szoboszlai and I forced him into my team in game week 1 is because I just thought their opening 5 was so good that it was crazy not to have some sort of Liverpool player, which I'm now pretty happy with because Ayer is just like a 5 million DEFCON defender priced at 4.5. Maguire was rubbish, but that's fine. And then Calafiori can just play every week. So I think the Liverpool fixtures from this week to 5 are great, which is why I went with one of them. Do I think Trafford and Verbruggen makes rotation goalkeepers? Yes. So my FPL draft team for that creator draft has Trafford and Verbruggen as my 2 rotating goalkeepers. What do you think of my draft team? I was pick number 4 and I went João Pedro, Haaland, Bruno, Palmer were the 3 players that went before me. This was my draft team. I smashed it last week because I had quadruple leads who got Trafford, Jacob Biol, Stack and Ampadu getting almost 40 points combined. Dewsbury Hall 11, João Pedro 11, Tarkowski 6. It smashed it. Thank you very much, Leeds. Thank you very much. Free hit next week or save it. Again, if you don't have Haaland, I definitely would be considering the free hit in 3. Seriously considering captaining Calafiori over Haaland? Yeah, I personally wouldn't do that. I think Calafiori's a good pick, but I wouldn't captain him. I'm still not convinced enough to captain an Arsenal defender away at Aston Villa. Jacquet or Ballard? I'd play Ballard. Thinking about captain Mbermo. Again, he's fine. He probably just about makes my top 5, but I don't think he's definitely better. So, best 6 million forward long term. I probably would go Visser. I was very impressed by what I saw from Newcastle. Muhemovic or Maguire. If I had to start one, it would be Maguire over Muhemovic. Rodon or Ballard, I would go, yeah, Ballard at home to Fulham. Captain João Pedro. Again, if you want to captain a Chelsea player, João Pedro and Palmer are both good picks. Got no issue with Chelsea player captain. I still think Bruno and Haaland are probably number 1 and 2, but outside of that, yeah. Rodon, Ayer, Van Uyck, 1 to start. I probably would start the Coventry defender at home to Hull, to be honest. As much as I think Rodon and Ayer are good, if you've got a Coventry defender, you bought them for this week, so I probably would play them. Hume or Rodon if you have Sangare. I'd go Hume, regardless if you've got Sangare or not. I'd be playing the attacking Sunderland defender, potentially playing right wing against a team that gave so much space to the Chelsea attackers on Monday night and don't look like they particularly want to change it. Is Decrypia a must-have? Absolutely not away at Chelsea. If we get to game week 3 and they haven't signed anyone, Matoma's still injured, Minter's still injured, then yes, he becomes a great pick. But there's a little bit of uncertainty at the moment for him. Brentford winning 2-0. It's absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. Brentford are great. I just think Leeds are also good, particularly at home. Captain Haaland as a differential. I mean, it's crazy we're at the point where we're saying Haaland cap is a differential. But yeah, listen, if you want to captain Haaland and go against Bruno Kappas, I've got no negatives to say about it, really, apart from they didn't look great for the past couple. Community Shield in game week 1, they didn't look great, but Haaland still had chances. So, what's my FPL challenge for game week 2? I haven't done it yet. We'll do it once the deadline passes, as we do every single week. Maguire or Tarkowski, definitely Maguire. Gross or Gomez, I'd go Gross and Dye starting. I think it's unlikely in Dye starts, but if you've got him, just start him in your team and have someone auto sub in if he doesn't play, would be my recommendation. Roll the transfer in game week 1. Should I bring in Pedro for Bobby? No. To be honest, if you've got, that would be meaning you've left 1.5 million in the bank, 1.2 million in the bank. If you can do Bobby to, I don't see a world where that's a transfer that anyone's making this week. And I probably would just keep Bobby against that Fulham team. Will Konza play? I think it's really difficult to predict. If you've got him and you want to start him, I think fine, but I would not be buying Ezri Konza this week. I still think I would be predicting Mosquera to start. Until I see Konza start, I will always predict Mosquera to start. Ben, let me take a look. Raya, Gabriel, Calafiori, Konza, Shaw, Thomas, Mbermo, Semenyo, Vert, and Dye, Slater, Haaland, João Pedro, DCL, 4 Arsenal defense and Dye. Shall I wildcard? Who do I start? No, you definitely don't need to wildcard because you could bench Konza and bench and Dye with Slater and your team still looks great. So no, you don't need to wildcard this week. This is a horrible week to wildcard. Game week 3 wildcard looks okay. Game week 4 wildcard looks great. So you can definitely get through this without a wildcard this week. So no, I really don't like a game week 2 wildcard. And I don't think the squad looks that great either. Yeah, when do I plan on wildcarding? Game week 6 is still my plan. There is a world where it gets brought forward to game week 4 to potentially save some transfers when I'm likely to buy Chelsea players. But game week 6 is still the plan. Why would Ndiaye be a doubt? Because he's heavily linked with a transfer to Manchester City. He might end up playing, which is why if Ndiaye is in your strongest 11, I would just start him and then let someone auto sub in if he doesn't play. Sharda, yeah, Sharda's still a good pick if you've got Sharda. Yeah, he's still a good pick. Yep. Van Uyck or Thomas or Giles from Hull. I'd probably play Van Uyck, to be honest. He's probably the most nailed of all of the Coventry defenders. With Pinnock coming in, as much as I think Thomas will play, I think there's a slight doubt. So I think I'd go Van Uyck. What's with Kinski over Verbruggen? So I spoke about this on my complete guide video and I tweeted about it. I just don't understand why you'd play Verbruggen over Kinski. I just don't see it. Verbruggen is away at Chelsea. Kinski is at home to Newcastle. Yes, Kinski wasn't great in game week 1 and Spurs weren't, but they've got more defenders available. They've got all their attackers available if they want them now. And Verbruggen is away at Chelsea. Like, I don't think it's much more than that. Kinski has about a 10% higher clean sheet odds. Now, again, if you want to check that out yourself, if you want to have a look at it yourself, I'll put the link in the description. But if you click this link, it will take you to the Fantasy Football Scout fixture ticker. It's completely free. You don't even need an account, and you get a well, this is the sort of match center that you've got. But if you go to their homepage and go fixture ticker, you can rank by clean sheet odds. So again, you can check this out completely free. You don't even need an account. Spurs 27%, Brighton 17%. And I know that people say that Spurs are bad. I do get that. I do get it. But it's Chelsea away. Maybe you think they both concede and you think Verbruggen's going to make more saves. But yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see a reason to play Verbruggen over Kinski. If you want to do it, fine. To be honest, they'll probably both concede and they will end up on 2 points and 3 points and it will mean absolutely nothing. But yeah, like I've probably thought about it. I've had to think about it more because for some reason it feels like a big question this week. And I don't know if that's just because everyone's rolling, so they're making it more of a decision than it needs to be. But there's not even 10% of me that thinks that Verbruggen is a better pick than Kinski this week. It was always the plan to play Kinski at home to Newcastle, Verbruggen away at Chelsea. Yeah. Appreciate it. Maybe I'll have a look anyways. Your point's valid, 50-50. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. But yeah, as I say, I tend to have a look at the clean sheet odds that you can get here. Again, it's completely free. You literally just need to click the link. You don't even need an account or anything. So it's always a good starting point with players and decisions. Would I recommend doing DCL to Visser? No. Game week 2, the only transfers you should make, if you're, right, let's do this again. If you're actually considering making a transfer this week, please tell me what it is, because I don't see virtually any transfer, unless you're on bench boost this week, that is worth it. I would roll. The flexibility and the 2 transfers with more information for City in game week 3 at home to Coventry and Chelsea at home to Hull in game week 4 is more important than what you can do this week. And Burmo for Gibbs White? No. DCL to Visser? No. And die to someone, you're on a bench boost. So we have a situation where I'd consider a transfer if you've got Ndai. Look at the other 3 players on your bench. If you don't think they score 10 points, then yes, consider selling him to Sangare. If you already also own Sangare, I don't see a replacement that's particularly worth it. So either just try and hope Ndai gets minutes or bench boost a different time. Hume to De Kuiper. I mean, Hume has Fulham at home and De Kuiper goes away to Chelsea. I know De Kuiper's great, and maybe it's for value, and that's fine, but I'm not sure I would have done that. Start Barnes or Hume. Probably Trey Hume. Ballard to Hume. Again, I'm not sure that's particularly needed. What does the cooldown mean in the top left? That is how long until the deadline in the top left. Bench boost with Kinski, Hume, Sims and Van Uyck. Definitely. Who takes pens for Everton? Probably Barry. He took one in pre-season. 5.5 million Everton striker in good form on pens. Yeah, absolutely one to consider. Definitely. Their upcoming fixtures are a little bit mixed, but yeah. Thomas, Van Uyck, Gross, Verbruggen, bench boost. Yeah, I probably would just play it. Who to start, Rodon or Ballard? Ballard over Rodon. Nketiah to another 5-5. Again, unless you're bench boosting, I would just leave them on the bench and deal with it next week. Yeah. Bench Shard or DCL. I'd probably play DCL. More minutes, playing at home and on pens. Igor Jesus to Isak. You have the cash. I mean, maybe. No, I wouldn't buy Isak. I wouldn't do Igor Jesus to Isak this week. Anyone else? Richarlison to DCL. Just because I don't think DCL is worth a transfer in this week. Bruno to Saka. Brobby to Vissa. Sarr to Solis. Ooh, now that is a tempting one. You don't get the board for that. Sarr to Solis. Now that is a transfer that is worth discussing. Yeah. Probably would consider Sarr to Solis unless you can just bench. If you can just bench Sarr this week, then I would just do that. But if you are playing them this week and you don't have any cover, I would consider Sarr to Solis. Is it worth taking a -4? Buy Rodgers to replace Lafie. Any more? Bruno Guimaraes to Cherki. To be fair, that's different because Bruno Guimaraes might not play, but I'm not sure Cherki would be the player that I would buy. Shaw to Hume. Anyway, enough with the whiteboard. Let's actually answer some questions. For anyone who's not got their camera up in front of them or is just listening to the audio, is wondering what on earth is going on. Williams to Ben White. Again, I don't imagine you need that defender this week because if you had bought Williams in game week 1, expect him to play it in game week 2. So yeah, I imagine you don't need to do that transfer. What I should have done is recorded myself saying roll the transfer and then just have a button that I can press that just says roll the transfer. Roll the transfer. DCL or Sangare? I'd play DCL. Right, we are... all of you for tuning in. 5,000 of you watching me hold up a sign is crazy. If you haven't already, though, please do drop a like on the stream if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new to the channel as well. Thank you all very much for the support. We are closing in on 250,000 subscribers. When you can put something into the respective of 1 million, that is a lot. We are 8,000. Okay, we're 8,000 away from 250,000. When you can put anything into a fraction of 1 million and it not sound ridiculous, that's mental. So I appreciate you all. But we are going to put it in subscriber only mode. You talked. We've had this before. Right, and we'll put it in subscriber mode and then we're going to come back to that. You talk too much. You literally have to subscribe for 1 second to start using the chat. I talk too much. What do you want me to do? It's a pretty boring stream if I don't talk. I should sit in silence. Yeah, shall I just write the answers down on a whiteboard? Yeah, right. Anyway, there are lots of you asking about Rodon versus Ayer. So, again, when you look at the clean sheet odds, they're really close. 28% versus 25%. I always like to favour the home player in this. And then I know Ayer's DEFCON's better. I know Ayer's DEFCON is better, but I'm just going with the home goalkeeper. I know in game week 1, Ayer did really well and he got DEFCON with the last kick of the game, but yeah. To be honest, what the probable outcome will be is they'll both concede and Ayer will get DEFCON, and then that probably was the right decision. But I want DCL to score, which means I want Leeds to win. So, yeah. I think that's just what I think that's just the way around it is for me. Like, I think Ayer's a good pick. I've got no issues with him this week, but yeah. Like, there isn't much more to that decision to me, apart from I've got DCL. They're both not bad for DEFCON, although Ayer is better. And Rodon's at home. That's about all it is, really. That's about all it is. There's not much more to it than those two things, really. Like, and if you want to go for it with Ayer, he's maybe got slightly better goal threat as well, but I think Leeds win. I would predict Leeds to win in that match. Solis, Semenyo, or Brobby bench 1. Alright. That just hurts my head. Solis, Semenyo, or Brobby. Someone else. Option C. I'd bench Szoboszlai before any of those three. I just know Szoboszlai's got everything, but I just wouldn't want to bench any of those three. Those three could go crazy this week. That's interesting. Who do you think wins this week? Put Brentford, Leeds, or draw in. I've already got a poll up, or I would put another poll in the chat, but yeah, put Brentford, Leeds in, and we'll have a look what the general or draw. Jay, did I miss? Leeds, draw, Brentford, Leeds, Brentford, draw, Brentford. Draw, Brentford. Has 1-1 written all over it. Yeah, to be honest, that's probably about right. Brentford, Leeds. Brentford. Interesting. To me, these are two of the teams that I expect to have a really good season. I think they will both really do well this year. Like, I think they'll both finish top half. Neither of them in Europe. Both of them, their teams are basically the same as last year, if not slightly better. Players used to playing with each other. As I said, no Europe, and I just think they will do well with very little change to their squads. So this is a big game for them, because I think they are two teams that a lot of people are expecting to push on and do better than they did last year. Rodon or Hume? I'd go Hume. Would I bench Stack or Dewsbury Hall? That's quite close. I probably would bench Stack out of the two of those. Yeah, why not Ayer over Rodon? It's just, a combination of having DCL, Rodon being at home, basically. Yeah, I just really rate Leeds defensively. Leeds weren't anything special last year. Why do I rate them so highly now? So, I think their team is basically all the same as last year, which I think is a positive. Think they play well together, and I think we'll see that again this year. They don't have any Europe, as opposed to a lot of the other teams like that you would expect to finish in and around them, like Sunderland, Bournemouth, Brighton, are now all in Europe. All of their players are like prime age. Like they're all the same age and they're all playing really well together. And I think they're just really strong and well-organised team that's difficult to break down. So I expect Leeds to have I would have Leeds in my top half prediction along with Brentford. And I would not be surprised if they both get Europe next year. Again, maybe it's scraping sort of 7th, 8th, 9th Europe. I'm not saying they're going to be Champions League spots. But outside of United, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, outside of those 5, I don't think there's a categorical team that is going to be better than Leeds or Brentford this year. Maybe Spurs. But outside of those 5, there's no reason that Leeds or Brentford couldn't finish 6th. To be honest. It's going to come back to haunt me if this actually happens. But if they finish really low. But yeah, that's my prediction. I'm expecting big things from both of them. Yeah, Spurs, exactly. So like outside of United, Liverpool, Chelsea, City, Arsenal, there's no one that I think is definitely better. Brighton, but they're in Europe. Like that's tough. Bournemouth, again, Europe. So yeah. You really like Brighton too, but yeah, they got Europe. So it's difficult because there are lots of those teams in that category, but the 2 that don't have Europe are Leeds and Brentford. Rodon or Ballard? I'd play Ballard. Bench boost with Illiman and Die. Hold, sell, cancel the bench boost. So you've got a few options and there's nothing definitive. So you've got options. A, you bench boost with him. If the rest of your bench is really strong and you already own Sangare, you can just bench boost with and Die. You can sell him to Sangare, or you can cancel the bench boost if the rest of your bench isn't that great. Like if you've got and Die and like double Brighton, then maybe you cancel it. Bench boost with triple Coventry and Ampadu, yes, I would. If you've got players at home, good fixtures that you think will start, yeah. Why is O'Reilly so high in your defender ranking? He looks so average so far. He blanked last week, but he was playing so advanced. He's going to be a good pick again. It's whether you can afford it, right? But if you're selling Bruno, again, like next week, if I do Bruno to Palmer or I do Bruno to Semenyo, suddenly money is just such a easy thing. So it's not really about value. And if you've got O'Reilly potentially playing as a box crashing midfielder or even a left back who inverts, he's still a good pick despite his price. It's just whether City look as fragile defensively as they did in game week 1, which wasn't the best. Ilman and Die or DCL and Ayer or Mehemrovic. I play DCL over and Die anyway, and I'd probably go Mehemrovic over Ayer. Any reliable sources for and Die updates? Let me take a look because I haven't been around loads today to actually check even more. Let's see what the latest news is on and Die. Also being linked with Spurs today. I think he probably... Do they play tomorrow? Do they play tomorrow? They do. He probably does end up playing. I don't feel like I don't feel like the rumours are solid enough for him to miss out tomorrow. So if you've got a strong enough bench and you're bench boosting, I probably would take the risk, to be honest. I reckon he probably does play, unless anything happens this evening. If we get no news between now and if the kickoff was tonight, I would expect him to play, based off what we know. I would expect him to play based off what we know, basically. So unless anything changes, which of course it does very quickly in FPL and Premier League, I probably would expect him to play. Where were we? Sanchez will start. I expect Sanchez to start. Yeah, I think Sanchez probably does start. Can I justify why Bruno is a better captain? Bruno's never blanked at home under Michael Carrick. A lot of it just comes down to that. It's a good fixture, and I haven't been convinced by City. So this was always the plan. And as much as United were poor in game week 1, I haven't seen anything from Haaland to necessarily convince me to do that. I'm also just quite happy for Haaland to not be my captain and for him to do well. Bruno is going to be the bigger threat to my rank going into game week 2. So yeah. I don't think there's that much in it to pick between them, to be honest. Yeah, someone said that there's been no odds change on City. In fact, it's gone up. It's gone up from 1 point. I wonder if Joe's in the chat. Joe, if you're listening, say hello. Because if you look at the graph for predicted goals, it was up and then it dropped this morning and then it's just climbed. Sorry, FPL Joe who runs this site, not just any Joe. I wasn't just calling out for anyone called Joe. Say hello in the chat. Yeah, I would. I don't know why it dropped a little bit here this morning, but this probably implies that Cherki's starting. But again, normally when there's team news, right? If there's a leak on someone starting, it would be a more significant jump. Right? It would be faster than this. So if I go back and I go game week 1. So if I show you the Chelsea one, right? Do we have history? Yeah, right. So in the build up to that game, there was a sudden drop, which was Caicedo missing out. This isn't fast enough for it to be a significant team change. Gross or Sangare? I'd play Sangare over Gross this week. Would I bench boost with Kinski and Dye, Diop and Van Uyck? Probably not, to be honest. And Dye is a risk, and you've got an Ipswich defender. Probably not. Any team news? No. We've got 45 minutes till the deadline. I'll start keeping an eye out soon, but no, basically. Basically, no. Sangare or Visser? I probably would play Visser if I had him. You missed all... Fernandez to Palmer and Rodon to Van Dijk for a hit. No. We're getting close to pulling the sign out again. DCL or Lafie? I'd play Lafie. I just think Sunderland will win against Fulham. That Fulham defence looked there to be got at. Yeah. Would I consider James Justin? So once Goodmanson's back, someone's got to drop out of that defence. It's either Bogle, it's either Justin, it's Goodmanson, or it's Rodon. One of those four is not going to start. So it might end up being Justin that doesn't play. Would I start Colwell or Rodon? Probably Colwell. Rodon or Williams? Rodon. Bench boost, Rushworth, Maguire and Burmo and Haaland. I mean, yes. If that is your bench, yes. You're going to play Ayer and bench DCL. Fair enough. If you just back that game to finish 0-0, you can absolutely do that and just hope that DCL doesn't score and you get a clean sheet. Because as long as you get one out of the two, it's not a bad decision. Start Cherky or Szoboszlai. To be honest, I'd start Szoboszlai unless we know that Cherky's going to start, in which case I would want you to start both. I'd bench DCL probably. Solis captain? No, not enough routes to points. No set pieces, no pens. He's a good option, but relies too much on just open play assist threat, really. What's the reason behind Bruno cap over Haaland? Just he's never blanked at home under Carrick, basically. The plan is to wildcard in game week 6. So the big international break between game week 5 and game week 6 is a really nice chance to reset my team if I feel like I need it. If I buy lots of Chelsea in game week 4, I might not need it quite as much because they have Bournemouth at home in 6. So if all is going well, I might end up delaying it. Yeah, because a lot of people are going to go in 3, which I'm just not going to do. Now, 4 is also slightly tempting, which I might consider, so we'll see. I'm going to buy Palmer today before the price rise. No, he's got Arsenal away in game week 3, so I'm not buying Palmer, no. Not tonight, anyway. If Bruno looks rubbish, then I might consider Bruno to Palmer, but I'm not going to do it tonight. I need to see Palmer play, I need to see Bruno play, so lots to do, yeah. Rodon or Ballard? I would go Ballard over Rodon. Bench 1, Maguire, Mehemrovic, Ballard, Mehemrovic. So, in the bottom right of the screen in the benching ranking section, there is a list of 28 players ranked from best to worst. Most of the players you're discussing or asking about in terms of benching decisions are all in this ranking. So please do take a look and move your eyes to the bottom right of this screen. I will play page 1 again, and then we will play page 2, and then I will go back to page 1. So have a look if you are considering it. There we go. Start Hume or Solis? Solis, definitely. And I, in your 11, who to put first sub, Gross or Ayer? Probably Gross. I probably would play Gross over Ayer, but maybe that's not right. Maybe it should be Ayer. Yeah, I think I probably would go Ayer over Gross. Let me swap them around. Maybe I was hard on... Maybe I've overestimated Gross. There we go. Tarkowski or Rodon? I'd go Rodon. Am I bench boost? Would I bench boost my current team? No, definitely not. All 4 away, not great fixtures. No. No Bruno. Who's better captain? Haaland or Mbeumo? I'd be on Haaland if I wasn't captaining Bruno. They're my top 2. Is that because of the Chelsea bias? Maybe, but I just, again, what if Brighton scored? What? he hasn't been involved in any of their last 11 goals or something now. Apart from his pen in pre-season, I'm not sure he's had an attack in return. And if Promise starts up front, there's no guarantee that, or someone else starts up front, there's no guarantee that he's even on pens. So he's got set pieces and maybe pen share, but he hasn't had an attack in return apart from a pen all of pre-season. Play Rodon or Shaw? I'd play Shaw over Rodon. Yeah, I am planning on rolling my transfer. But you think Leeds score and you've got DCL and Rodon in your 11. I can't remember what that was referring to as a follow-up. Calvert-Lewin or Enzo Lafie? I'd probably play Enzo Lafie. Again, I think there's more goals for Sunderland than there are for Leeds. Start 1, Rodon, 09 or Gross. It would be Rodon out of them because 09 is not predicted to start. Anderson or a fourth defender? I'd play Anderson. Enzo Lafie or DCL? I'd play Enzo Lafie over DCL. If I had to pick two, Ndai, Sangare, DCL, I'd probably bench Sangare and just have Ndai in, and Sangare can come off the bench if Sangare can come in off the bench if Ndai's not in the squad. Risk starting Konza over Gross? Probably not, no. Coffee or tea? Tea. Isaiah, of course I can. Of course. Which one out of these three? Ayer, Diop, Williams. I would play Ayer even if you've got DCL for that equation. Should I do Ndai to Solis? No. I would roll your transfer in that situation. I don't think that's an essential enough move. As long as you've got a good enough person first sub to cover the bench, I think that's what I do. Good luck to you too as well. I hope everyone is having a nice Friday evening. If you're in the UK, if you're not, whatever time it is, I hope you're having a nice day. Do I reckon Ndai starts game week 3 worth keeping if Doku's out? It's what? Ndai versus Foden. I'm not sure I'd be willing to take that risk, but yeah. I'm not sure I'd be willing to take that risk. No. But if you're not selling him this week, then you just have to evaluate how it goes next week. Ayer or Van Heck or Hume? I'd go Hume and probably Van Heck. Van Heck's DEFCON's really good. Start Maguire, Ballard, Mehemrovic, or De Kuyper. Maguire, Ballard, probably. And I'd bench De Kuyper. As much as he's been great, again, he is a defender that needs a clean sheet. So, yeah, I'd play Maguire and Ballard, probably. If you wanted to play De Kuyper because he's so attacking, it's not a bad call. He's a good pick still. But I still think I'd play Maguire and Ballard. Play DCL or Mosquera. I'd probably play DCL just because there is a risk with Mosquera, with Konza being there. So I probably would play DCL out of those two. Why did I pick Szoboszlai over Rodgers? I'm 0.5 million short. They're not the same price. And I love Liverpool's opening 5 fixtures. You just don't have to worry about Szoboszlai. You just don't have to worry about Szoboszlai. I would have liked Rodgers, but again, that was 0.5 that I could barely afford. I could barely afford Szoboszlai. Haaland or Palmer cap? Haaland for me. Is Calafiori not a good captain against Aston Villa? So there's a few people asking about Arsenal player captains in general against Villa. I don't mind it. Away at Villa is still, even with all their concerns around player availability and what their squad looks like and how they played in game week 1, I still am not putting away at Villa as the most straightforward fixture, especially with a couple of the signings they've made. Will they go straight in? I don't know. So I probably do expect a clean sheet there. So I've got no issue if you want to captain him, but I still think a clean sheet isn't guaranteed. And then you are relying on some attacking return on top of that to really make it worthwhile. He probably does need a clean sheet and an attacking return in order for it to be worthwhile, unless he just scores a goal. And he has had a history of being subbed off early. I just don't love the Calafiori captain. I'm pretty happy to have him. And if he does well, that's great. If he doesn't do well, that's also fine. So I don't want to captain him. I'll actually be wanting Villa to score because I only have one. So, yeah. It's fine. I wouldn't captain him. I'm not sure I'd captain Solis or Odegaard either. Again, just due to lack of consistency, that the returns are definitely going to go through them. If United score, or City score, or Chelsea score, they'd be in the top 2 names that you'd say would be getting those returns. If I asked you who scored for Arsenal, you could name 7 or 8 different players. Bench DCL or Sangare. I'd still bench Sangare out of those 2. Isn't it nice, by the way, that they stopped drilling about half an hour ago and they haven't started again? That peace and quiet. It's nice. Nice and calm. So nice and quiet. Yes, the plan is to roll my transfer. Yeah, I'm having a look if there's anything on City on Twitter, but nothing. What are the odds saying again? Are they just... Let's go 6 hours. Yeah, I mean, it's just going up, but... I mean, that might be Turkey. It might not. It's not really a significant enough change. But no, nothing yet on anything City related. Triple captain on Bruno. As much as I'm happy to captain Bruno, he's not a triple captaincy. We didn't see enough goal threat or anything from him in game week 1 or United to be doing something like that. So no triple captain this week definitely not. You buy Anton Stack. What do I think? I think he's a fine pick. I doubt he was necessarily really needed of a transfer to buy this week, but yeah, I think he's a fine pick. Soham, let me have a look. Need your help with the transfer chip strategy. No chips used yet. Your team is Kinski, Calafiori, Maguire, Ibrahimovic, Rogers, Bruno, Szoboszlai, Lafitte, DCL, Haaland, bench of Verbruggen, Hume, Gross, and O'Shea. Yeah, I wouldn't bench boost that. You've got Haaland in there, so no need to play a chip early, to be honest. Transfers are fine. Would I try and find a space for Trey Hume over Mehemrovic? Probably, and then I'd probably leave it at that. Would I start Bobby Thomas over Rodon? Yes, I would. Start Gross or Ayer. I'd bench Gross. Bruno blank in game week 2 in the last 5 years. Is that the case? He also has never blanked. He was also like his last 4 years in game week 1. Someone told me he also blanked. Estimated EO on Haaland and Bruno. Haaland 110, Bruno 150 maybe. Bruno will be higher almost certainly. Maybe it's 120, 150. And then a little bit of Chelsea. Now that probably isn't enough either. 130, 160 maybe. Something like that. I don't know. Something like that. O'Reilly to start. I see no reason why he wouldn't. Will you be picking? I always do my fancy challenge squad at the end, just after the deadline. Absolutely. So if you're interested, by the way, if you're not in the league codes, the leagues, which are here, there are links in the description. If you are still not in the FPL Harry leagues for the season, there is the codes. There's also a fancy challenge one if you want to join that. If you're playing fancy challenge like some of us like to do every single week as a bit of fun on top of the normal game. But make sure you're in. There are links in the description. If you just click those on a device that's already signed into FPL, it will automatically join you into those leagues. Hume or DCL or Slater. DCL, then Hume, then Slater. Let's not get carried away that Slater got an assist in game week 1. He's a good player to have in your squad, but he's not going to do that every week. Would I start Luke Shaw or Rodon? I would go Shaw. Don't I think Haaland can bag tonight? It's just the early kickoff for me. Well, if they were the other way round and Bruno played tonight and Haaland played on Sunday, then maybe I'd consider it the other way around. I just don't like the early kickoff. And I'm pretty honest about that. That people tell me that kickoff time doesn't impact their decision making. It's a lie. They're lying to you. Well, maybe it's not, but it impacts my decision making. Yeah. Thank you all for the nice comments on my advert, by the way. I very much appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. Where are we? How long have we got? What time is it? 6 o'clock. We've got half an hour. I apologise if I missed your super chat. Bench 1 of Ndai, Solis, DCL, Sangare. I'd bench Sangare, and then if Ndai doesn't play, you just get Sangare off your bench. What was my rank last season? I finished 26k last year. Top 10k the 5 years before that as well. All the ranks are up above me in a moment. You don't know what you saw from Bruno to captain him again. Yeah, I do understand that. I get that as a point. Yeah, like he wasn't great in game week 1, but I also, I mean, I saw a bit more from Haaland to be fair, but yeah. I understand not wanting to captain Bruno based off what we saw, but I still fully expect them to bounce back. Yeah. There's not much more to it. I plan on doing it. I plan on captaining Bruno this week. The fixture's still good. He's very consistent at home, and so I'm quite happy with that. If Bruno has 48% ownership, he's impossible to reach 150, 90-ish. That's fair. In the overall game, I suppose, he can't be that high. But then Haaland can't get any higher than 120, 130. So that means there's loads of captaincy elsewhere, but there's not. Kinski's too popular. Spurs will concede quite possibly, but he's just a better option for me than Verbruggen. I need some more mods. I think. Big Gross or Thomas? I lost last fan standing. I did. I went Man United. Don't remind me of it. Nightmare. Bruno, Haaland team. Start Gomez or Gross. I'd still probably play Gross. Rodon, Ayer, Maguire, Diop. Which two? Definitely not Diop. Definitely Maguire. And then it's Rodon versus Ayer. And I'm going Rodon out of those two. Ndai or Van Uyek. I'd play Ndai over Van Uyek. And you might end up with an auto sub if Ndai doesn't play. Lafi or Sangare. Lafi, definitely. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to really talk about with my team. I don't plan on changing anything unless there's anything between now and the deadline on anything City. If there's anything on City, but as always, if you are new here, what we do is I will have my phone up. If anyone sees anything of interest on Twitter around team news, please tag me in it and I will have a look straight away at it. Ballard or Rodon? Ballard. 9.93 FPL players in So it has jumped up. That's good to see. It was the second highest ever start for game week 1. Presumably, we think that hits, what is it exactly? 9-9. It says 992 on mine. Probably does hit 1 mil by game week 1. By game week 2. 10 mil by game week 2. Get your words out. Hume or DCL? DCL. Van Heck or Ballard? Ballard. You would go Lafille over Sangare. Yes, definitely. Do we expect Haaland to score? I would say so. But I also expect Bruno to get returns as well. So, yeah. Ndai or DCL? I'd play DCL over Ndai. Bench Solis, Lafille or Luke Shaw? I'd bench Luke Shaw. Elliot Anderson. Yes, Elliot Anderson is available. Should start for City again tonight. Mukiele or Van Heck? I'd play Mukiele. Enzo Lafille or Foden? I'd probably play Enzo Lafille there. DCL or Sangare. So, a few common benching decisions. So, strap in and listen up. DCL, Enzo Lafille. I'd bench DCL. DCL or Ndai. I'd bench Ndai. DCL Sangare. I'd bench Sangare. Sangare Ndai. I'd bench Sangare. Hume or Rodon. I'd bench Rodon. Hume or Ayer. I'd bench Ayer. Rodon or Ayer. I'd bench Ayer. Enzo Lafille or Trey Hume. I'd play them both, but I'd bench Hume. I do like the Sangare pick, but in any specific week, I'd take an attacking player over a DEFCON player. Over the course of 5 weeks, I think he's a great pick. One of the best in the game. But if I'm picking a penalty-taking player, and I've got him, or I've got Sangare, I'm taking the penalties. DCL or Maguire? DCL. Play Thomas or Rodon? Thomas. Does Mosquera play? Probably. Play Wirtz or Lafille? Lafille. DCL or Slater? DCL. Van Heck or Trey Hume? Trey Hume. DCL or Wirtz? DCL. And Gross or Ballard? Ballard. Ballard or Ayer? Ballard. DCL or Ndai? DCL. DCL or Dewsbury Hall? DCL. Let's point. Wrong way. Right. Let's all point this way, right? You see over on that far side where it says transfers in, and now it says transfers out. In a moment, it will have a whole benching ranking of 28 players across 2 pages, starting with the best and then going to the worst. And this is the benching ranking for all of those players, which is being discussed in the chat. Ballard is in there, Gross is in there, DCL is in there, and Ndai's in there, Solis. Here we go. That was page 2. So if I go back, you've seen page 2 now. Let's go to page 1. Solis over Odegaard. Odegaard over Calafiori. Calafiori over Ben White. Ben White over Thiago. Thiago Lafille. Brobby. Szoboszlai. O'Reilly. Semenyo. Iliman Ndai. Florian Wirtz. Calvert-Lewin. Tavernier. Maybe I should drop Ndai further down because he's not... I mean, I doubt he's going to play, to be honest, anyway. There we go. Right, back to the questions. Last minute panic about Ndai. Is Sangare worth it? If you're not playing your bench boost, just leave it as it is and take the auto sub. Anna Dream in draft. Gross or Cherky and Donnarumma or Kelleher? Cherky and Donnarumma. Right. No triple captain Bruno. I would not be triple captaining Bruno, no. DCL or Pascal Gross? DCL. DCL or Thiago. No, probably DCL. Thiago is just better. Thiago over DCL. Anything on City yet? No, nothing. Not seen anything. Not been tagged in anything either. No. Triple captain Gabriel. We won't be doing that again, that's for sure. Should I bench boost with my... Would I bench boost if I had similar to my bench? No, I wouldn't. No. It was built to bench boost in 1, not 2. Why not put Gomez above Ayer? Because I just think Ayer's a better pick. I think there's a chance he keeps a clean sheet. He's good for DEFCON, so I think he's a safer first sub pick. There's not much between them, and I doubt I need my first sub. There's no one in my starting 11 who's any sort of a doubt. Why Diop instead of any Hull defenders? Just because it's who I picked in game week 1. Yeah. Game week 1, I went with Diop because he had Sunderland at home. I should have gone with a Hull defender. Would have started much better, but they had United away, and I wouldn't have wanted to have bench boosted that, despite how it actually turned out. Ndai or Sangare, who do I start? I'd play Ndai over Sangare. As always, if you see anything on Twitter that is of use in terms of team news, then please tag me in it. What's the max minus you'd want to take if I had to? I think I've taken a minus 12 once before, maybe minus 8, and then a minus 4 or minus 8 the next week. So no, nothing on Twitter yet. Would I play John Egan? Yeah, I think he's a fine pick. I don't know who your other defenders are, but if you've got him, potentially, yeah. He looked great in game week 1. DEFCON really good. So yes, I like him. Yeah, we are getting close to the game week 1 deadline, so I will be keeping an eye out on anything City related on Twitter. If you see anything of use, please do tag me in it. Where was I? There we go. Mbeumo captain. I still don't think he's necessarily better than Bruno. I'm not sure it's worth that risk, but I don't mind him. Is there any news about Ndai, or are your comments just from feelings? He's linked to Man City quite heavily today, but if nothing progresses between now and tomorrow, I think he'll be in the squad. There's not been enough concrete news for Ndai to not be in the squad, in my opinion. It's not progressed far enough to reach that point. So, based off what we know now, I probably would expect Ndai to play. Again, that can change very quickly in football. And maybe it progresses rapidly tomorrow after City play, for example. Maybe Ndai is going to play and then Foden gets injured tonight and then they just put a huge bid in and then... no, nothing further than links, no. No. Isak or DCL, I'd play Isak. If you've got him, you play him. Rodon or Ayer. Rodon, that's what I've got. Would I play Dango or Sangare? I play Dango. If you've gone for Shada or Dango and you've also got Sangare, then I would still play the attacking one. Sorry. Start Mehemrovic or Thomas. I'd play Thomas. Start 2 from Ballard, Shaw and Dye. I'd play and Die, and I'd probably bench Shaw. And just have him first sub in case and Die doesn't turn up. Porro or De Cupia. Another name I keep butchering, and I need to get better at it because he's going to be a very big player for us this season. De Kuiper? Ayer, Muharemovic, and De Kuiper. Start Hume or Lafie or Ayer. Lafie. De Kuiper. Got it. Thank you, chat. De Kuiper. See, someone said it differently in the chat. Someone said it's De Kuiper. Bruno captain. Is stack a keep? Definitely, yeah. Let's repeat everything that we learned in the last minute. De Kuiper, Ayer, Muharemovic. Haaland. I mean, I will be cheering on Haaland goals because I've gone with him and I need him to do something across the first 2 weeks before other people... before other people buy him. Jackson is expected to be in the Aston Villa squad on Monday night, apparently. He was registered in time. Forrest Sangare is injured. Who is a good replacement at 5 million? If you've got Sangare and you're not bench boosting, there's no way you plan on playing him away at Liverpool, I would say. And you've probably got someone fine on your bench that I would just bench them. If you really needed it, it probably is Gomez of Brighton. Those are probably the only two. Apart from if he's injured, Schlager at Forest, who's very good for DEFCON, will likely play. But that's not a transfer I'd recommend at all. Start Xhaka or Zubamendi. Xhaka. What do I think about Martinez coming to Chelsea? 7.5 million seems great when we have Sanchez playing in goal currently. So, yeah. Ballard or Van Uyck? Probably... I was going to say probably Ballard, but I don't know. Probably would just about go Ballard over Van Uyck. That's a close one, though. João Pedro, Haaland and Bruno, who's a captain. My ranking of captaincies will be in the top right, but it is Bruno 1, Haaland 2, Palmer, João Pedro, and Mbeumo 5. No, nothing on City yet. I'm keeping my eye out. What's happening over here? Nothing significant, so it doesn't look like we're going to get any leaks either. Normally there's a jump when there's sort of information available. And these things normally change earlier when we're expecting team news, if that makes sense. Like, the people who give us team news on Twitter rarely have it before the odds change. Like, they're not the ones that cause the odds to change. The odds will have changed, and then we understand why that is the case. So, yeah. Got and Die in your bench boost, stick with it. Again, if the rest of your bench is fine, then yeah, I probably would stick with it. At the moment, there's nothing concrete enough to think he probably won't be in there. No, nothing on City at the moment. 10 minutes to the deadline. If you haven't already, please do drop a like. There are just under 9,000 of you who haven't liked the stream. Completely free. It does support me and the channel to be here every week. And if you haven't subscribed already, we are closing in on 250,000 subscribers. And you would not want to be someone who, you know, you're out chatting with your mates and, you know, Harry hit 250,000 subscribers. It's great being a part of that. And then you're the one who goes, I'm not part of that. You wouldn't really want that bit, would you? No. You want to be part of that. What to do with the Hinchelwood injury? If you could just bench him this week because he's got Chelsea away, I probably would. Gross or Elliot Anderson? I'd play Elliot Anderson. Thoughts on Isaac captain? I wouldn't do that. Yeah, very likely topic of conversation. I agree. Realistic pub convo. I know. Yeah, realistic type of conversation, that isn't it? Yeah, I haven't seen anything. Nothing on City. Muhamovic or yeah, I'd go Muhamovic. Rodon, I expect to be on the bench. Sorry, Konza, I expect to be on the bench. Rodon should start. Why not stack as differential, goal threat and DEFCON? Yeah, he's a good pick, but I had no space for a 6 million mid in my team. So I don't have a transfer. I'm not selling Szoboszlai or Solis to buy stack this week. DCL or Visser, they're the same price. If I was on wildcard now, I'd go Visser. If I have DCL, I wouldn't be transferring between the two. Hume or Rodon, I would be playing Trey Hume. Hume or Shaw, I'd also be playing Hume. Bench 2, De Kuyper and Die, Solis, Richarlison. I probably would bench Richarlison. Solis, I'd play and Die and have Richarlison first sub. Rodon or Ballard, I'd play Ballard. Gvardiol, Ben White for Palestra. I probably would go... To be honest, if you're not bench boosting, I probably would bench Palestra because Ben White is going to become an issue. Gvardiol, I'd want to see he starts again tonight before I did it. If I had to pick one, I'd go Gvardiol, I think. Last minute panic about and Die. Is Sangare worth it? I probably wouldn't rush to do that move if you haven't done it already. Yeah. Again, if anyone sees anything on Twitter, please tag me in it. Someone's just tagged me in something and I have them blocked on Twitter, so that is not reliable. So no, nothing yet. Nothing yet. With only 6 minutes to go, it doesn't really look like we're going to get anything either. There's no significant changes here either to suggest that there's anything particularly surprising either. So I'm not particularly worried at all. With this, maybe that's enough to imply that Cherky starts. 0.1 increase, but that's not significant enough. Why Kinski over Verbruggen? He just plays at home and Verbruggen's playing Chelsea. Best chance to wildcard. Game weeks 3, 4, and 6 and 7 are also good. Are all good. Yeah, that is another... There's no reliable news at all. Thomas of Coventry or Ayer, I'd play Thomas. Will and Die play at the moment, based off what we know, probably. What's my percentage on Captain Bruno over Haaland? Is it close? Probably 60-40, I would say. No, there's no news on anything. I wouldn't buy Konza until you've seen him start. I don't think there's any guarantee he plays this week. Coyote or Rodon? I'd play Rodon out of those two. Rashford, definitely not likely to start. He might do. But it's Dorgu, Sesko, and Rashford for one spot, I would say. Would I bench DCL and Die or Lafitte? If I had to bench one of them, probably I'd just bench and Die. I think DCL is a good pick, but people have got these crazy benching decisions where they're benching such high caliber players that DCL, unfortunately, is in that conversation. I wouldn't want to bench him. DCL or Elliot Anderson, DCL. As soon as I wildcard or I need a cheap midfielder, Sangare will be in. Sangare is a lock on anyone wildcarding. 100%. Thiago, DCL, De Kuiper, Xhaka, pick two. The two attackers. Thiago, DCL, if you can. And Burmo, captain. He's probably not. He's number 5 in my ranking. DCL or Sangare, DCL or Ballard, DCL. Bench DCL, Thiago or Sharda. I'd bench Sharda. Hume or Rodon. I'd play Hume over Rodon. DCL or Sharda. I'd play DCL. Would I bench Sangare or DCL? I'd bench Sangare for DCL. No stress this week, but it will return. That's probably right. Slightly stress-free compared to last deadline, where they told us they were going to get the Arsenal team 2 minutes before the Game Week 1 deadline. That was stressful enough. This is a little bit less stressful than that. Is Antoine Stack a keep? 100%. There's very little things that mean you should make a transfer this week. So we're 2 minutes before the deadline. If you're not certain on a transfer, this is probably my advice. Probably what I would tell you to do. Probably roll. There's very little scenarios that I think the transfer is worth it. Benching decisions. There is a benching ranking about to pop up in the bottom right-hand corner with lots of players ranked from best to worst. Starting off at the top is Solis. Definitely start Solis, Odegaard, Calafiori, Ben White. And it will go over to page 2. And those players are all ranked slightly below. It will be back up again in just a moment. There was nothing on City on Twitter. Hume or Sharda? I probably would play Hume. Is Stack a keep? 100%. Yeah, my team's locked. Yeah. It's been the same since basically the game unlocked last week. Do I play Brobby up front or Gomez? 100% you play Brobby. 100%. I love this YouTube auto-translate. Someone wrote and die for Stack and it auto-translated with what's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with me. I'm doing good, thank you. And I wouldn't sell and die to Stack. Osula to Vissa. I probably wouldn't force that this week. Just bench Osula if you can. Any updates on Ndai? No. Probably it will be in the squad unless anything progresses over the next day. Gyökeres, unlikely to start, I would say. Maguire or yeah, I'd play Maguire. Brobby or Sharda? Brobby. Brobby or Slater? Brobby. If you've got Brobby and you're definitely start Brobby. I think he's a great pick this week at home to Fulham. Caicedo starting. I don't know, but he's back in training apparently, so I would expect him to. I'll do my challenge team after the deadline. And Die or DCL, I'd play DCL. Mahemrovic or DCL, I'd play DCL. I'm not sure where any of these rumours are from. There's nothing on City, so don't stress it. Captain Haaland, Bruno or Haaland are both good picks. Right. We are into, if you want benching decisions, they'll be in the bottom right-hand corner in 10 seconds time. We are into the final minute before the Game Week 1 deadline. Do not miss the deadline. Make sure your teams are locked in. My team is confirmed. Just hit refresh once again, so it's all up on screen there for you. Bruno captain, transfer rolled as expected. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. That is going to be the Game Week 1 deadline. Interesting that this is not the FPL Main Road has tweeted a picture with Haaland with the armband saying there's only one man starting who'd make me captain Haaland, which I presume is Cherky. That is going to be the Game Week 2 deadline though. Make sure you lock in your teams. That basically implies that Haaland also starts. But we're right at the deadline. So make sure you go and lock in your teams. I'm sticking with Bruno captain. There was nothing ever. If you've been following that account that's tweeted stuff about Haaland, make sure you go and find them and block them because they were lying to you. FPL Main Road has said that he's captaining Haaland. So that would imply that he's starting along with Cherky. There was nothing reliable on City. Oh, I can't say, oh, interesting. It was nothing confirmed at all. Like, he's not said it. He's just tweeted that he's captaining Haaland because it sounds like Cherky is starting. But that is it. As always, if you're heading off now, please make sure to subscribe. Like if you haven't already. As always, we're closing in on 250,000 subscribers, and you don't want to be that person who's having their conversation with their friends about me hitting 250,000 subscribers and you not being able to be a part of that conversation. You just wouldn't want that to happen to you. So if you haven't subscribed already, don't run the risk of being in that situation, and make sure you subscribe. These streams, as always, are being sponsored by Club. If you are not playing Club already, it's a completely free-to-play game, and every few hours you get given a pack. If you like the player, you can add them to your lineup. I got a very interesting player in my pack this week, just before the stream. Don't worry, if you have not played it already, you get matched against players who download the game at the exact same time as you. So you will get matched against people who are also a bit late. You won't necessarily play against people who have really strong lineups like I do. There's a link in the description if you want to download it. It is completely free, and I play it every single day, looking at players, improving my squad. This is what my squad looks like. I've got some City players on there. I'll be waiting until I see their lineup before I officially confirm it. But that's it. I've got Saka, João Pedro, Semenyo front three. I'm cooking, despite the fact that I lost in game week 1. If you want to play it, again, use the link in the description. It is completely free to play. I play it every single day. And then make sure you're one of the 6,000 people who are joining my club league ahead of the season. Clover UK started last week after you mentioned it, and it was really good. Well, what's more to say? It is a fantastic game. It is a lot of fun. And if you're not playing it already, I really would advise going and doing so. Then, finally, before I jump off, let's go and pick the Fantasy Challenge team. What have we got here? Double points for players from the promoted clubs, up to 3 players per club. Okay, so Rushworth. I have to own Bobby Thomas, right? Just because he means everything to me. Bobby Thomas. Who else are we going with? I'm probably not going Ipswich, so it's probably 3 Coventry, 3 Hull. Oh yeah, let's put McBurney in. Who's going to start up front for... I'm going to go Grimes, because I thought he was really good. I'm going to go Slater. Ooh, 1-3-1 maybe. No, 2-2-1. We're going John Egan and Slater. I'm going to captain Bobby Thomas. Big up on the Champions League ad. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, crazy. Absolutely crazy. Thank you very much. For anyone who hasn't seen it, go and check out my Twitter or my Instagram. I was in a Champions League fantasy advert, which is now being officially posted, so I can stop keeping it as a secret. But that is all. That's my fan. I've got no last fan standing. Maybe I should talk about it. So if I was playing last fan standing after I went out last week, I would probably be going... I probably would be going United. If you've got United left, I probably would be picking them. If you've got Liverpool, I'd consider them. But if I had United, if you didn't get knocked... Well, if you do have United, so because they would have lost you last week. So I'd be going Man United. Yeah, I think Villa will start to look better pretty quickly, but I don't think it will necessarily be straight away this week. Yeah. And that is going to be that. I'm going to wrap it up there as I'm heading off this evening. Thank you all very much for watching. If you are still in the stream, I appreciate you all very much. One big more thank you of all your support. Massively appreciate it. Those of you who hang around after the end and just want to just want to chat like this. We don't have time for end of stream chaos today, but we'll be back with end of stream chaos next week for game week 3. Thank you all. Have a good one. Good luck. Let's hope Haaland does well. Yeah, and I catch you all very soon. Bye.